Before you today in beautiful chili red is the brand new 2025 Mini Countryman S all four. The Countryman is their most important model, and up until the upcoming Aceman hits the scene, the Countryman is really your only option if you want a big Mini. It's a Mini, yes, but it's big. I know the whole cliche thing with the Countryman is that, oh, it's a Mini, but it's not a Mini because it's so huge. Well, this one actually is. I mean, it goes back quite a ways. Very long car, and that's because it's based on a BMW, obviously. It rides on the same platform as the brand new BMW X1, shares the BMW X1's 241 horsepower turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and the BMW X1's dual clutch transmission and BMW xDrive. But no, it's a Mini, it's all four. We know it's xDrive pretty much. But that is where the similarities end. This car is so shockingly different than the X1 that I've also reviewed on my channel. Link is somewhere. This couldn't be less X1 if it tried. Yes, it has the engine, the platform, the all-wheel drive system, and the transmission. That is it. There's nothing else. It's got a completely different body. One other BMW part that I have noticed that they thought they could hide was the exterior door handles. Different windows, different mirrors, different wheels. This car is available with these really cool 20-inch wheels. I think they're called windmills, and they're sick. For lack of a better word, they're awesome. And that's how I would get my Countryman if I were to get one. The most interesting part of this car by far though is the interior, which we'll get to in a second. But for now, we're gonna talk about styling. It's quintessentially Mini in the sense that it's kind of blobby and rounded off everywhere. Take these circular door mirrors that are painted black, just like the roof, classic Mini thing. And up front, it's got, they're not really circular headlights anymore, but it's still that same formula of big, wide eyes on the Mini, and then a big circular grille underneath. It's given some modern flair, like these little Mini touches inside the headlights. If you look closely, it's got the Mini logo and then a bunch of lines coming off of it to look cool and hip and modern for the kids. There's also a Mini Countryman John Cooper Works on the way, and that is going to have the same engine as the BMW X1 M35i. In the Mini, it's going to make 312 horsepower, so that is going to be quite the little rocket ship indeed, and I hope to review one at some point. But for now, we just have the mid-level, the S, again, with all four all-wheel drive. So let's take a review type tour of this car, starting with practicality. All right, let's look into cargo space. Now, when we open this, we should hopefully see the taillights come on, which they don't. But in this car, which is a typical Mini thing, and I think it's hilarious, is the fact that it has half of a British flag on one side and then the other half on the other side. And you know, it's just Germans looking, look at us, we are British, we have made a British car. You see our British flags on the taillights? You see, we are British, we are definitely not Germans. We have put a quintessentially British charming piece into this definitely British, not at all BMW, not at all BMW Mini. It's definitely Mini. You know, the Germans had many board meetings where they thought, how shall we convince the people that our Mini is definitely still British, quintessentially British? How shall we convince them? And I wouldn't say that's a very good way of doing it, but hey. So we look inside and we see it's just cargo area. There's really nothing important or interesting. That's a cover. There's some underfloor storage down there. Yeah. Being related to the BMW X1, again, it rides on the X1 platform. It has the exact same quite annoying folding seat arrangement back here, where instead of having levers or switches or something to release the seats and put them down, you have to go to each individual side, pull on a loop, and then they fold, which is very annoying and should not fly at this price point, which is high $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, depending on which one you get, the X1 or the Countryman. That's one downside back here. But what you do get out of a Mini is quite a non-mini cargo area back here. So this should be enough for most people. But if you want more room, there's other crossovers on the market that are way more boring. I have a review up of a Ford Escape Active, which is much cheaper, has a bigger cargo area, and Mazda CX-50. But are those as fun? No. Let's check out the rear seat. So we get inside, and the first thing you notice are these really strange seats. They're white with blue stitching, and then they have these little strips along them, almost like right here, it kind of looks like a belt, like my belt right here. It is like the exact same material as my belt. And then the headrests have this funky colory pattern in them with black, white, red, and blue. That's the same for this weird belt thing here. There's a Mini logo right there that has stars around it. It's like, are they trying to convince me that this car is American now with the red, white, and blue? Like, I'm getting very strong patriotism vibes up here. And yes, I know the British flag is also red, white, and blue. Just, I know. Also, this pattern in the seat, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the wings on the Mini logo or M for Mini all over, or like snowflakes. It's a weird pattern. In the center, you've got a little center armrest with some cup holders, which is nice, obviously. You've got 2 USB-C ports up there with some vents where you can control airflow, but nothing else. A bit of a transmission tunnel down there, but again, not a big deal. And yeah, again, these seats are very weird looking, but they're quite comfortable. This seat right here is in my driving position. I'm 6'3", so I'm tall, but I've got about as much room as you'd expect back here for a car of this size. My knees are definitely touching the seat. I have plenty of footroom down there, and I have just enough headroom to be comfortable. So yeah, it's not too bad back here at all. For a Mini, this is the most comfortable back seat by far that Mini's ever had. But where it's even more strange and quirky and interesting is up front. So let's move up there real quick. So like I said, up front, it is definitely more weird than it is in the back. And the first thing that I noticed when I sat down in this car was this bizarre steering wheel situation. I say bizarre because it looks like a traditional new car steering wheel, but the weirdest part is the bottom. So it's a 3-spoke steering wheel, right? Like what you're used to, but the bottom spoke is like a strap, like a nylon strap. Again, just like my belt, it's just this weird material. It's not a traditional steering wheel spoke. It's just a belt strap, I guess, coming off of the bottom of the airbag and attaching to the steering wheel rim. And of course, it's got gold surround on it, which is a theme of this car. A little bit weird, and I'm gonna hide my belt from Mini so that they can't get it for the next car that they build. But yeah, that is, never seen that before in a car, ever. Looking forward at the dashboard, it's a flat plane, sort of like in Tesla, but unlike in Tesla, it has a lot of design and effort put into it to make it look interesting and good. This netted weird pattern on the door panel continues onto the whole dashboard, which is nice. It doesn't feel cheap or anything like that, but it's just weird, kind of strange. Up in front of you, you have the heads-up display screen, which I've seen on a glass panel like that on lots of Minis before. So if you're familiar with it, then that's going to be there for you. We move to the screen, which is a circle. We're going to come back to that in a second. But yeah, a totally circular screen, just like older Minis with their huge circular central speedometer, which I always thought was really cool. And this, it's a circular infotainment screen. Down here you have your drive controls and your volume control for the stereo, and they're on traditional Mini cool toggle switches, which Mini's been doing for years. This whole center console here is bizarre and strange. Let's start with the cup holders. Conventional cup holders have a gold-ish surround. What a surprise. You got 2 levels of storage for your phone and other stuff. And what is this thing going on? Oh, that's a storage channel. Behind the cup holders, you've got this strange pod thing, okay? And then you've got a strap coming off of it here, and you pull on it, and it opens a little storage area with your mini digital key inside. And above that, you have an adjustable armrest. You can move it forward. If you like to kind of stretch your arm a little bit, be like that. Flex your big muscles to the lady sitting in the passenger seat, or if you want a more relaxed position, you can just move it back just like that. So that's nice, but it doesn't open, so there's no storage, at least from what I can tell. Maybe it does open and I'm just dumb. I have to go into Mini's, I think it's called Mini's It's like Mini's Infotainment System 9 or whatever. It's the 9th iteration of Mini's infotainment system. We'll just say that. And this is absolutely bizarre and weird. So we start with this home menu, which shows different things. You can swipe between your maps, your music, which we're going to get to in a second, your weather, car information, and the clock. And I'm pretty sure you can probably also change these, add widgets, remove them just like you can in BMW's iDrive 8. And it's all got a circular, fun type theme to it, which I like. And you get to this, and you see Mini's first automated infotainment voice assistant, sort of like Apple's Siri, or how in BMWs you just have a boring way of going, "Hi BMW," and then it helps you out with different things. In the Mini, they decided to make it fun, so they give you Spike the dog. I think he's a dog. So Spike is your fun little personal assistant that's gonna help you with everything you need. If you're too lazy to do stuff yourself, you just make Spike do it for you, because Spike is unpaid and overworked, and he is here to help you no matter the cost to him or his family or his puppies. So yeah, if you want to, just say, "Spike, turn up the heat," and then he'll turn up the heat for you. And you don't even have to feed him. That's pretty good. It's clear that they put a lot of work into making this infotainment system good and to making it different than a conventional modern car infotainment system, making it a little bit more enjoyable to use, a little bit more fun, as compared to BMW's very Germanic and boring but smartly designed iDrive. And being a BMW iDrive type system, yes, it has the climate and a completely different submenu, which is annoying, but they're not going to change it at this point, so oh well. That's really the only downside. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is this experiences switch. So you touch this and you can go from core to green, vivid, timeless, balance, and trail. Also, changing between these comes with changes to ambient lights. Some of them change the driving characteristics, but it's basically just changing the whole vibe on the interior. So that's green, which is an efficient mode, I guess. So let's do that. Efficient shows your power, shows your fuel, more of an emphasis on that. The ambient lights all turn green, which is kind of interesting. Let's move to vivid, which puts more of an emphasis on the sound and the music and everything. So yes, it goes to my radio settings right away. And also it changes the whole menu once again. Now it's all red and it's all vivid, I guess. That was their theme. It's got warm colors all over it. Let's move from that down to my favorite, which is timeless. And as you can hear, each different mode that you put in it has a special sort of sound that goes with it. So vivid sounds more musically. It's got some music type, cool beat to it for a second. Green, you can almost hear like wind going through the trees of a forest. So stupid. This is ridiculous. So let's go to timeless. So timeless has traditional gauges in the same font and kind of style of the classic Minis from the 1960s and 1970s. And it's got this bright color, but you can also switch it to a dark mode, which is what I like. I'm a dark mode guy. So let's move from that to balance. Immediately I'm noticing the cover for the sunroof closing, and I didn't know it, but these seats have airbags in them, and now the seat is giving me a massage. Literally, I'm getting massaged right now. Oh, it is very nice. Woo! And we move from that to trail, which is adventure-y. So immediately my screen shifts to the most important thing, which is the map, because I am on the exploration in my Mini Countryman. Oh, also, there is one more mode that's called Go-Kart. Yes! The go-kart mode is sport mode. So this one actually changes your driving characteristics, more throttle response, more steering feel, that kind of stuff. This is the only mode that I can find that shows your tachometer as well. So this is the mode that you switch into when you want to be serious about your sporty driving. And yes, I have gone this far into the video without mentioning the classic Mini cliche, which is go-kart handling, which I'm sure this car does not have. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is also available wirelessly, so you can just switch to that if you're going to be boring and lame. Okay, here we are driving the new Mini Countryman. Definitely not going to drive like an X1. I expect it to be like an X1, but a little bit more spicy and interesting in terms of its driving experience. And as you can hear, I have just engaged go-kart mode. And yes, it has to play that sound every time you go into go-kart mode, of course. So let's just feel a little bit of acceleration. Ooh, it's spicy. Yeah. Well, in terms of driving characteristics, at least on acceleration, it's the exact same as the BMW X1, which is to say it's good. It's got more power than you'd expect, and it moves with haste more than you would expect for a small crossover. Let's try steering. Yeah, I've driven go-karts. This is not one of them. I mean, the steering is very quick, but the body, you can't fight the laws of physics. It's a tall, heavy crossover SUV, so it's gonna have some body roll and body lean throughout the turns. Now, that's not to say that it handles badly. It doesn't. By Mini standards, it's not a handler. But I will say this go-kart mode has got it feeling really sporty indeed. It's got a lot of energy right now. Let's turn it down. Thinking balance. I could use a back massage. Oh, there it is. Yeah. As I've said, I like all the drive modes. I love the fact that they play a funky little sound with each different one. It has its own unique sound. It's got a sense of humor to it, which is good. The voice assistant, Spike the dog, reminded me in a very electronic voice that it's time to refill the car.
Range low. Show gas stations.
And at one point, it actually gave me the option to ask him where charging stations are. This is not an electric car, and I don't believe the Countryman is offered as an electric car. I don't think there's an electric version, at least maybe not yet. So yeah, no, Spike does not have a cute voice. He is not a cute sounding dog. And he's like, would you like to look for... He's got no emotions, that kind of kills it. All right, Mini Countryman S. Let's do it. Feel that power. 241 rampaging horses moving through a 7-speed dual clutch transmission to all 4 wheels to propel me straight into my next speeding ticket. That is how you do it. Actually, it's a British car, so it's to propel me straight to the next speed camera. In terms of driving characteristics, drives exactly the same as an X1, which is to say not bad at all. Like I said, it's got some body lean, but it's got more power than you'd expect. The steering is very quick, and it rides quite comfortably. It's a really good daily driver that's pretty fun. It would be a lot more fun, however, if it had manual shifting on the transmission. Not a big deal on the X1, but on the Mini Countryman, the fun, sporty car, I would expect some paddles here, a manual mode somewhere, so that I can have more fun with it, but I can't. So the lack of a manual shift really does take away from a lot of the fun, but I doubt that Mini Countryman owners are gonna miss that, really. It drives well. It's just, for a Mini, and I would expect a Mini to be more fun. Nothing bad about it. Got a lot of good technology. good power, makes a okay sound. And if you're feeling down, lonely, and blue, call on Spike the dog to help you. With his emotionless electronic voice, would you like to find a charging station in your car that's definitely an electric one? Overall, this car has so much more character and charm than the BMW X1 does. The X1 is very smartly engineered, smartly designed, has good features, good tech, lots of storage throughout, a smart, well-designed vehicle for everyday use. The Mini is a traditional Mini, fun, charming type spin on the BMW on which it's based. So it's got this fun infotainment system. I can't believe I just said an infotainment system is fun, but you get it. It's got a funky interior. Nothing about the interior is conventional or regular except for the fact that the steering wheel is circular. But then you look at the third spoke on the steering wheel, which is just a strap. Very weird. The driving position's really good. It's all boxy, tall, and upright like you'd expect a Mini to be. It does definitely feel like a Mini from where I'm sitting. A very big Mini, but it does feel like a Mini in terms of driving position. And the shapes of the windows, how they're all upright and square, they still captured that Mini charm in this car, which is really good. I think the only problems with this car come with the driving experience. It drives like a BMW X1, no manual shifting. Everybody knows the Mini go-kart thing is a cliche, but it's especially insulting when you have a go-kart mode on a big crossover SUV like this that does not handle very well. Yes, the steering is quick, but that's just there to kind of distract you from the fact that there is some body motion when you go through turns, that's for sure. You're upset about that, just switch it into vivid mode and turn up the music. With that, I'm gonna end that video there. Hope everybody enjoyed. Like, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.